13-year pro and MLS Cup champion Quincy, aka The Chip Amarikwa, presents the Perfect Soccer Podcast, where your host goes one-on-one to get to know your favorite and aspiring pro players and coaches both on and off the pitch. Today's episode is sponsored by the Perfect Soccer Ball. Buy 10 Perfect Soccer Balls for only $100. This special is now available for purchase at perfectsoccerskills.com/ball. Today's episode is also sponsored by the Perfect Soccer Uniform. Custom designed jerseys and full uniforms starting from $25. Place your order for purchase at perfectsoccerskills.com/uniform. If you have any special requests or know someone perfect to be a guest on our podcast, please send us an email to contact@perfectsoccerskills.com. Thanks, and we hope you enjoy today's episode.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Perfect Soccer Podcast. Our special guest today is Abbey Harland. Abbey, how's it going?
It's good. How are you?
I'm good. Glad to get you on. I know you're in the UK, so I haven't had that many UK guests on, so it's always cool to learn new things as well as how the game is different over there. So tell me a little bit about how, give me your first memory of playing football.
Well, so for me, I learned to walk chasing a football. And I think from that moment, kind of my family and my friends all kind of knew that I was going to play and I was going to play for a while. And it was kind of the one thing that kind of stuck throughout my childhood. No matter what sport I played, I always came back to football. And I think over here it's so common that especially boys play football. And if you're out in the street, everybody plays football over here. And so, yeah, it was kind of just all my family members were really into it, were very keen kind of supporters. And it was just from a young age, like football was the game I played.
Yeah, for sure. And then tell me a little bit about your youth career. And then do you guys have like clubs in high school too, like a high school team?
So for here we class it as kind of the grassroots game. So you play outside of play club football. I think it is similar to kind of over there. So I started out playing kind of local football, just kind of for fun. The girls' game is really hard over here because it wasn't at that time as developed as it is now. And that's literally looking back kind of 10 years. And it was kind of very little exposure. And so kind of started out very local, kind of grew up kind of that side of the game. So my town to then a little bit more around the county, a little bit further afield, playing kind of better leagues against better players. And then at the age of about 12 or 13, I got scouted to what we call RTCs, which is a regional talent club. So these are basically the female version of academies. So I played at York, and we used to play against Man United, Man City, all the kind of big Liverpool and Everton, all the big clubs in the north, which was kind of my first exposure to kind of quite a high level of the game. It's completely different to play anything I'd played before. The game's a lot quicker, a lot more tactical, and we trained a lot more. It's a lot more serious. And then when I left there at 16, stayed there my whole kind of youth academy career. And then with women's football, it's really hard. There's not really a jump when you finish at under 16s. You either go into first team or a lot of girls will leave the game. So I was very lucky to kind of get into Middlesbrough, which was it's quite a large club in the north of England. And I was really fortunate to kind of fly into the first team and play well. And once you start playing well and giving performances, then you're around the squad for good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And then so currently you're on Leeds United, correct?
Yeah, so I signed for Leeds about Christmas time. I was kind of coming back from injury, a little bit kind of downhearted with where I was kind of at with my game. And I was like very lucky that the manager at Leeds had played under him before, and he was kind of willing to put an arm around me a little bit and help me through the kind of final months of what was quite a serious injury, and kind of help me kind of gain some confidence and come back and play at the level I can make and play at. So that was big for me, and it's my home that was my home club, my childhood club that I grew up supporting. So to kind of pull on that shirt was proud day for me and my family.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I saw you tore your ACL, right?
Yeah, quite a common injury in women's football. A lot of my friends recently in the kind of last year or two have also done it, but it's a long kind of process. It's not one of these where you can kind of be down for a few months or a month and then be back playing. It's so for me it was a whole year. Mm-hmm. And it's a tough one when I'd never had that kind of long-term injury. I'd always kind of played through my youth career, never really missed many games for things like that. And then to miss obviously a whole season was devastating.
Yeah, definitely. And then what was that like playing your first game back from injury?
Yeah, it's always scary, especially so for me, my ACL injury went undiagnosed for quite a while. And so I kind of had 3 or 4 months of rehab to then come back and play, and my knee was never quite right before it completely kind of went. And that's when I had surgery. So the first game properly back after I'd had quite a major surgery on my knee, there was that worry, oh my God, like what if it isn't good again? And what if it does kind of go and it's not as strong as I thought it was going to be? But the nerves kind of settled, and obviously to pull on kind of my home club shirt, the club I've supported, my family support was great. The girls around me were really, really nice, and to kind of go on to the pitch, and I came on and scored, which was an amazing moment, and it kind of settled quite quickly. And it's nice to be back, and kind of playing football is something you've done, and that kind of smile that you get from it is the same as when you were 6 or 7 year old. So when you're back on a pitch, there's nothing better.
Yeah, definitely. And then tell me, like, what are your goals for after this your contract with them?
So my goal in the summer is to come across and play collegiate level in the States, and kind of start to kind of get a different experience of football. I've played obviously here all my life, and it's a great game, but I kind of want to challenge myself and see kind of what's out in the rest of the world. The goal long term is to always kind of to make that kind of professional game and be around kind of top level football, whether it's here, whether it's in a different country, just kind of taking every opportunity. And I think when you've been out for such a long period of time, you kind of want to make the most of everything that comes your way, because I never know when it's going to end. I think that's something that really comes from when you've had quite a long injury. It's kind of like a little bit more realism, like it could end at any second. And so kind of taking every opportunity that comes my way and playing at every level or have every experience I can is a big target for me.
Yeah, definitely. And have you been getting recruited or reaching out to any universities?
Yeah, so I committed a few months back now to a D2 school called Coca in South Carolina. So kind of flights are booked now, which makes it very real, and just waiting for my visa to come through. The nerves, but once that's kind of all sorted and settled, it's I've just kind of started kind of getting the fitness plans through. It's quite a different game over there to over here. Kind of fitness wise, and I've started to realize that now in the gym and stuff, kind of getting prepared and getting as ready as I can to kind of hit pre-season strong is the goal at the moment, and everything that kind of I'm doing off the field is all kind of contributing to how I want to play when I get there.
Yeah. Have you been to America before?
No, it would be my first time. So that's definitely, I've done a lot of traveling, and I love kind of the experiences of going different places. So I'm hoping it'll be a nice experience.
Yeah, for sure. No, it'll be cool.
Yeah.
I don't think I've been to well, I've been to South Carolina, but yeah, it's nice down there. It's warm. It's like pretty much warm all year round. So you'll be good. I'm up in Connecticut. It's near like New York. So we get like 4 seasons, it gets cold, and it just started getting
That's
warmer.
like
Yeah.
I think at the moment the big thing is we're going to have like the wettest summer that we've ever had, and you can like every day is just raining at the moment, and it's like horrible and miserable.
Yeah.
Which we're obviously used to the horrible weather, but normally it gets to summer and you can kind of see a little bit of sun, but it's not looking that way this year over here.
Yeah. I totally understand that too. It's been pretty rainy here lately too.
Enjoy learning what it takes to become a better player from professional soccer players? Well, how would you like to work with professional players one-on-one? Now you can with Be Pro by Perfect Soccer. Head over to perfectsoccerskills.com/BEPRO to apply to work with our network of pro players today.
Are you ready for the Quincy questions?
Go on, let's go.
What's the most important skill or quality you feel has made you successful as a soccer player?
Oh, for me, it's my finishing. It's the one thing I think. I coach a lot of players now, and I think you can develop finishing, but that kind of natural instinct of a striker, I don't think you can. I think it is quite natural. I don't think you can develop that. I think a lot of players either have it or you don't, and I'm very lucky, kind of in front of goal, that I would say I can have that quite natural ability to kind of find the back of the net, and I think that's one thing that sets me apart from a lot of other players, because at the end of the day, the game is all about scoring goals. And there's always a place in any team for somebody who can put the ball in the back of the net.
Definitely. What do you think the biggest mistake players are making?
Ooh, I think we see a lot, especially in the girls' game, that don't kind of give it everything. A lot of players that there's not quite a direct path, and so they kind of lose touch with the game a little bit and drift into other areas. And I think there's a lot of good players and a lot of good kind of potential going wasted because there's not that clear defined path, and they don't kind of give everything to the very kind of minute path there is.
Yeah, definitely. What advice? I know you're young, but what advice would you give to a younger player?
Oh, for me, it's work hard and just stick at the game. I always say that kind of look, there's no such thing as luck. And I found that myself. You kind of, if you put the work in, it'll come, and opportunities will kind of present themselves. But you've kind of got to go to kind of find them, and you've got to work hard, or else nothing's going to happen in the game. That's it, really. If you work hard and you kind of give more than everybody else, and you stick at it, there's not. You've got to be really, really unlucky to not then have something come your way or something find you. So yeah, that's what I'd say.
I like that. Why are you passionate about football?
It's the game that stuck with me. It's the game that's been there when, other things in my life haven't been perfect. And yeah, it's just kind of always makes you smile. As soon as a ball comes up my feet, I've got a smile on my face. And that's why football is kind of for me.
That's awesome. These next two could be either you could relate them to football, or you could answer them in terms of like life. Okay. What is something that most people think is true that you believe isn't?
Ooh, that sounds difficult. Most people believe. I've never thought of that.
These are the ones that stump people.
Most people believe is true. What was the wording? Sorry.
What is something that most people think is true that you believe isn't? So, like, for example, it could be like, say it's like a food that somebody like, or like maybe a majority of people say they love it, and you just like don't like it, or something like that.
Wow, I've never thought of this.
Or like something like alien, like people think aliens are real, or people think aliens are fake.
Oh, yeah, I quite heavily believe in ghosts. That's such a strange one. I do believe in ghosts. This house right now that I'm in is definitely haunted, and I believe that really. I mean, I'm not scared of ghosts, but yeah, I do think there's kind of an afterlife, and that's you kind of come back as a ghost, or yeah.
And like, you think ghosts can talk?
Oh, do I think ghosts can talk? I mean, I've never been spoken to by a ghost. I think
You've seen a ghost?
I'm not 100% sure. I think like I've felt presence that isn't there, so I feel like that's as good as it gets.
Yeah. What is something you would move forward with if you weren't scared of what would happen if things didn't go well?
Oh, I think once, like, kind of like some of like the experiences and opportunities that kind of come my way.
Mm-hmm.
Even today, I was like, oh my god, like for me, it's something I don't get to do a lot of, kind of being quite a young player, and kind of the taking kind of opportunities that maybe do scare me a little bit. Even like America, moving across the world petrifies me, like away from my family, away from all my friends over here, into a completely different environment, different culture, a different way of life, a different way of playing football.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think, can I actually do it? So it's kind of getting past them nerves and kind of going to do it, which I think is something I'm actually quite good at compared to a lot of people that I know. It's kind of like there's definitely that worry there that things could go wrong, but kind of throwing myself out there anyways. So that's what I'd say.
For sure. You ready for some fun questions?
Oh, let's do it.
All right. I know the answer to this one, but usually I ask people, do you call it soccer or football? But obviously you call it football. But how are you going to get, when you come to America, you're going to have to get used to people calling it soccer?
Yeah, I know. It's something we talk, like when I talk with my friends and they're like, please don't come back and be like soccer. I think it's so kind of, especially English culture, is so deep rooted. Yeah. It's such kind of an important kind of sport. I know kind of over in America, you kind of play quite a lot of sports. Whereas kind of for the English, football is kind of very deep rooted. It's how most of the country comes together, whether that's in a good way or a bad way. I think it's quite even like families and stuff like that over here are brought together over who they support, and kind of, we've got the Euros coming up, which is massive for the country, and brings everybody together to watch a team, whether you like football or don't. So I think I'll always kind of stick with football and calling it that.
Yeah, for sure. All right, this is a two-part question. Messi or Ronaldo, who do you think is better, and then who do you like better?
You see, I'm a massive Ronaldo fan. So I would say Ronaldo for the both. Ronaldo's my idol personally. I think I always say it, and it's quite controversial because a lot of the people around me do really like the way Messi plays. But I always see, like, if you were to build an athlete, a soccer player, a football player right now, I think he would describe Cristiano Ronaldo and everything he kind of, the way he plays, the way he's built, everything around him. And I think that's kind of why I would say he's kind of the best football player and the best athlete in the world.
All right, I like that. Who would you want to do a jersey exchange with? Like, pick a male and a female.
In the male game, definitely Ronaldo. I would love to have a Ronaldo shirt on my wall. But it's somebody I've watched since such a young age, and tried to replicate kind of the way he plays when I was younger. In the female game, I've got quite a lot of people I've looked up to and watched. For me, when I was younger, it was Alex Morgan, and I would have said that in a heartbeat. I watched kind of, it was a time where Americans were the height of kind of women's football, and they were the best players in the world. Now, kind of looking more into the English game, probably someone like Alessia Russo. I really like the way she plays. Big idol for me at the moment, and I think she's going to be the future of the English team, and I think she'll really lead the team. So yeah, I would love to swap a shirt with her.
I like that. All right, Abby, I appreciate you coming on, and could you let the listeners know where they can follow you at?
It's simply Abbey Harland on everything. TikTok. Is it on TikTok? No, it's Abs Lives on TikTok, and Abbey Harland on Instagram and Twitter.
Quincy Amarikwa here, and thanks again for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to share it with someone you feel will get some value from it. And if you could take a moment to leave a review of our podcast wherever you're listening and let us know who you'd like us to interview next, we'll get working on that right away. You can listen to this full episode and more at perfectsoccerskills.com/radio. That's perfectsoccerskills.com/radio. You can also enter to win free weekly soccer prizes, goals, balls, jerseys, player meet and greets, and more by heading over to perfectsoccerskills.com/PSTM to enter to win for free today.